you doing? I'm Danny King. I'm here with Joel Freight Crew.
Good.
I'm here with LUCA with Myriad Games.
Yeah.
And then today we're going to ask questions. How do you make video games?
Video games.
That is a very big question. Having made one or two video games, I'd like to say that I know something.
Something is better than nothing.
Definitely not everything. Making video games is super broad, right? It sort of gathers up a whole bunch of different skill sets and knowledge bases, and all of them are important. You know, obviously programming is looked towards as like the key one. Like, you know, you jump on your computer and you write all this code and the game just works. But it's one element of so many other elements. You know, the art, making, you know, for Sonic, you know, drawing Sonic and all the different animations that Sonic does, you know, when he's standing up and when he's running and when he's in a ball, and like how you transition between each of those, which then starts to bring in animation, and animation, which, you know, you think of cinema and movies and cartoon movies, right?
Yeah.
So we've already sort of broadened the skills that you need to make video games into the same skills that you use to make a movie, right?
Yeah.
And then when you think about, okay, well, what story is your video game telling you, right? Like, what's the start? You know, who are the good people? Who are the bad people?
Oh, that is really
right?
true. Yeah.
You gotta have the villains.
Gotta have the villains.
It's like when they did Sonic 2.
Yeah.
Dr. Eggman.
Dr. Eggman.
Dr. Eggman. Yeah.
It was strange. It was strange. Like the second it was like Dr. Robotnik, and then the second it was Eggman. There's also sometimes when you're making games, there's also glitches in games. Well, as a gamer myself, playing Cyberpunk 2077 was the biggest thing. But the problem, what they didn't realise, they released the game too soon, and then you had to wait, and then you had to play the PS4 game on the PS5, and then the PS5 one comes out. Cyberpunk 2077, and then fair enough. Tell us a bit more about Myriad Games Studios.
So we started Myriad about 6 years ago. So long before COVID. We were a bunch of friends, and we all loved playing video games, and we thought, you know, let's see what's involved. And there was a friend of ours who was part of a local community here in Hobart that got together twice every year to make video games. He said, we should all go along. So we went along and we spent 2 days, and we made, you know, a really small, silly game. It was so much fun. It was so much fun, and, you know, we did everything. We were doing programming, we were making art, we were making music, all together, just sort of, you know, sitting over each other's laptops, making this game. And we thought that was really, really cool. We want to do this again, but, you know, much, much longer. So we had a look at our timeline for making the game, from start to finish, and we said, okay, so we're going to make this game. We're going to start, you know, with ideas, and ideas are going to take us this long, and then we're going to start, you know, making a small part of the game. That's going to take this long, and then we're going to make the whole game. That's going to take this long, and then we're going to fix all those bugs and glitches, and that's going to take this long. It took longer. And that was 6 years ago, and we started working on our game. That was it.
When you're releasing the game, what type of timelines you need to worry about when you start making games?
It's a really good question. You'd always sort of look at, you know, how long can you actually spend making this game, and that might be dependent on how much money you have to pay people to work on your game. If you only have a small amount of money to pay to make the game, and you can't spend too much time on it, so you've got to think about, well, where's that time going to be best spent? Well, step one is to make sure you're not releasing a game with lots of glitches.
Yeah. What inspires you making games?
It's a good question.
Good question, Adam.
Yeah.
What's the inspiration?
Yeah.
What's the inspiration? Yeah.
We drew a lot of inspiration from other games. Like obviously, we started from a passion of really liking games, and there were a lot of smaller games that we had played that we thought, that was a really cool idea, or that was really cool art, or that was really cool music, and so we printed off covers of those video games, like the box that you buy from EB. We'd print them off, we pin them up in our office, and we had to look at different movies that we thought were really cool, and different books that we thought were really cool, and we spent a long period of time just absorbing heaps of different inspiration for our game. We really loved Journey. I'm not sure if you've played Journey on I think it came out on PlayStation 3. And you just like wander through the
Sounds
desert.
like an open world kind of game.
It's not open world. It's fairly linear puzzle game,
cool.
but it feels very open. So you're like out in the middle of the desert, and you can't see the horizon, and it was a beautiful game, and we felt very inspired by that, and other Australian game developers and games that they were making as well.
Nice.
So the game that we made and released is called Where the Snow Settles, and it draws a lot of inspiration from those really small, contained puzzle games. We had a real emphasis on narrative and story and adventure, and we felt really inspired by beautiful imagery, and so we wanted to make our game feel beautiful. Where
that's true. Yeah, that's really true. Yeah.
You look at all these games with like really fancy graphics. We can't do that. We're not good enough to do that. So we wound it back. We made it really simple shapes. Everything was square or rectangular. But we wanted people to get the most enjoyment from our game just by sitting in it, not doing anything in particular, but listening to the music and looking at the environment.
That's true, yeah. What's the aim of the game?
The aim of the game is fairly broad. You're sort of taken through this story of this girl looking for her older sister, and in the process, learns a little bit more about herself and growing up as an individual, and not having to be the same person that her sister was. Often you look at someone, you think, oh, they're really cool, and I want to be exactly like them, and sometimes the best way to be like someone is to just sort of be your own self in the best way that you can be.
That's true.
We really wanted to focus in on that idea, and tell it from the perspective of a young woman growing up.
Isn't that amazing though? Like video games, particularly now these days, are like stories or movies where you can walk away and go, one, that was a really great experience playing the game, the storyline, but then having maybe something you can learn from it, like a message or something to consider. Meanwhile, Sonic, you're just like, come on, get to the end of the level.
Sonic has a super solid story behind it.
Sure. Okay.
You got this hedgehog, and he runs really, really fast.
You don't judge anyone based on their opinions
or
their colour.
Unless you're a Walrus Eggman.
Oh, correct.
So, Sonic does have weakness. He can't swim.
He's a weakness.
That's right. You fall in the water and all your rings go everywhere.
Nearly shattered. Now, we read in your bio about a particular favourite game that you like. Which one was that one, Adam?
Banjo-Kazooie.
Got to draw some inspiration from Banjo-Kazooie?
Oh, absolutely. How can you not? I feel like Banjo-Kazooie inspires all video games.
That is true.
Way before Spyro even had like Spyro Racing. Do they have a Spyro Racing? But Come on. We've got to take the good and the bad. We love them. And dare I say, combined here, we're all going to be gaming till the end, right?
Definitely is.
Right there.
Boom. Yeah.
That's a wrap.